why don't we start with the biggest hospital chain, Apollo, and try and break it down and try and understand what makes them tick, what their relative size is, what their financials are, and at relevant points we'll try and put the relevant financials up for our viewers. So could you maybe talk us through Apollo a little bit?
So Apollo Hospital was set up by Dr. Reddy, who himself was a renowned doctor. And it was his vision that healthcare should be there for the common man and it should be consistent.
Sorry, any relationship with Dr. Reddy of pharmaceuticals or
no relationship. But somehow both the Dr. Reddy's have given and done human service for the healthcare sector. So Dr. Pratap Reddy, who was the founder of Apollo Hospital, was a visionary and a man ahead of his times. And at that point of time, he had this vision that there should be hospitals which are corporate in nature, and they should offer excellent healthcare facility at reasonable cost to the large population, the middle class. And to a large extent, he and his daughters who run the company, they have fulfilled that particular ambition of theirs. So right now, Apollo Hospital has about 10,000 beds. The next competitor is half its size. And they have a cluster approach where they set up in a important hospital in a particular metro, and then they keep adding a network of hospitals around it. So they've got a Bangalore cluster, and they've got a cluster in East India as well as in North India. So that's their approach, and we can talk more about them, but by and large, they've been the most successful hospital company.
Absolutely. So I think we'll try and put up a historical view over the last 5 years of how their number of beds has gone up, as well as how their ARPU has gone up. But something that you mentioned is that as a hospital and a hospital chain grows older, their utilizations and their revenue becomes better. So is there anything specific in the financials that's been driving their stock performance or making them such a good pick for investors?
I think it's a very nice question, because I want to just add that Apollo Hospital is a class apart. And the reason for that is that not only do they run a chain of hospitals, they run a chain of medical stores, they do diagnostics, but really something which investors are most enthused about is their digital offering, where they want to offer medical through a digital channel remotely. Now, they made investments in that particular subsidiary, and it's kind of work in progress. As of now, that particular subsidiary which offers healthcare digitally is not broken even, but the potential is enormous, as you can imagine, because the same doctor can therefore prescribe medicines or offer his advice to many more patients online than he can do on a physical basis. So that's something which they're experimenting with. And if it is successful, it will take Apollo Hospital to the next level, way ahead of its competition.
So one thing that we discuss as a recurring nature in this podcast is that oftentimes for these high potential stocks, a lot of this future growth is priced in. Now, I don't particularly know about their P multiples or whether any of this is priced in, and maybe we'll try and have that up for our viewers. But what's your perception on where Apollo Hospitals is priced? Is it still something that investors can put their money into? Is it a wait and watch game? How would you approach it?
Apollo Hospital has always been an expensive stock, and yet it's been a multi-bagger. So I'm not going to get too phased by very high price to earnings multiple. I think so long as Apollo Hospitals and other hospital stocks keep on delivering on a positive basis year after year, 10-15% type of top line growth and bottom line growth, I'm happy to pay a higher price to earnings multiple. Because Varun, you have to understand that this is a game for the long term. And you can imagine that it's a very difficult business with, I would say, high entry barriers. So once you set up a hospital and it is profit making, then it's likelihood that it will keep on growing into the near future. They will gradually get pricing power as well. So it's a fantastic business from an investor's perspective.
Right. So very interesting. I think hopefully that gives our viewers an overview of how they should approach Apollo Hospitals. This podcast is produced by Elixir Equities Private Limited, a SEBI-registered research analyst. Registration number INA00004787. The information provided in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice. Investment in securities market are subject to market risk. We strongly advise all investors to read all related documents carefully before investing.